So I've been debating on whether or not to talk about this, and I decided I was going to. So that's actually what I'm out riding right now, is to kind of clear my head and tell you all about something that happened earlier today. My wife had to work today, so she had to be at work at 9:30. So she normally leaves around 9. So I was gonna go to church. So I rode my bike to church this morning. We have 2 church services. We have a 9 o'clock and a 10:30. So I woke up in time, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the 9 o'clock service. So I've left, my wife's getting ready for work. I'm sitting in church like 5 minutes in and my phone goes off. And I've got it silent, of course, you know, like, it's not like it goes off, it starts buzzing. My wife calls me this morning, she said, hey, one of the guys that fixed our AC drove up, knocked on the door and said our landlord didn't pay him, and he is after work, he's gonna come back and he's gonna take out the parts he installed. Like, just out of the blue. One, he knew we went it. You don't come talk to us. 2, you don't come to my house when I'm gone and talk to my wife and threaten to come take stuff out of my house. I have to work. Like, what the bull crap? Well, she calls me and tells me what he said, and said, well, I had to leave for work, so I'm leaving. She called me when she was getting into her car, and she said, he just got back in his car sitting on the curb. I'm like, what the heck? So, first thing I do is I call my landlord. So, I'm pissed at this moment. Like, really pissed. Grab my helmet and I go home. Because he's just sitting there right outside my house threatening to come into my house and take stuff out of it. I don't care if he installed it. You can't come like 2.5 months later and say you can't get paid. That's bullcrap. You're lying. Which, by the way, he had been paid. Crazy nut job. So I go home. I was caring. I don't care if I'm at church. Like, I care with the state that our country is, that the world is in today, with terrorist attacks and then with them threatening the military. I'm caring. And I'll be honest, I'm not saying this was legal, and I didn't do this, by the way. This did not happen. But anyhow, my full extent, I got my helmet and I put it on and I left. And my full extent was to drive home and stick my gun in his window, in his car window, and tell him if he ever said any sort of threat my wife again, any sort of threat towards my wife again, I mean, like, he was gonna regret it. I wasn't gonna shoot him, but I was gonna freaking scare him away, that's for sure. But I mean, my full plan was to pull my gun on him. Now, I don't need people telling me that's not legal, because I know it's not. But you don't threaten my wife, and I don't care what it's about. I'm not saying he threatened to harm wife, but you don't, any sort of threat, you don't do that to my wife. Good for him, he was gone. In between, like, the time that my wife called me and the time I got home, probably about 5-7 minutes. So, I guess he didn't stay around that long. So, good for him, because it wouldn't have been good for me if he called the cops. Anyway, I got a hold of my landlord, figure out what was going on. Basically, he called my landlord at 7 this morning. I guess he lost a check. And why do you lose the check and then wait 2 months to say something? I don't know. Whatever, he called my landlord this morning. Well, my landlord didn't pick up because he was sleeping. It's Sunday, and he's a DJ. He stays up late, and it's Sunday, it's his day off. He's not gonna freaking be up at 7. I wasn't up at 7 this morning. Wow. So he decided that if my landlord wasn't gonna pick up, he would just come over to our house and try to scare us to get the landlord to pick up. Like a total douche. Just a jerk. So I talked to my landlord a couple times. My landlord was like, if he comes back, call the cops and call me. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that, but just so you know, I'm gonna stick my gun in his face. And he's like, feel free, I got no problem with you doing that. Those were exact words, and you noticed the guy. He's like, I was thinking about getting my gun this morning anyways. I guess he wasn't very nice to him either. So that's my rant. I'm riding home now. I was just riding around a vlog about this. Long story short, not in your best interest to threaten my wife or threaten me.